for your excitement and for your hugs, and thank you for settling down as well. I want to welcome you to Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake's In the Pink Living and Loving Life in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I am Rhonda Boozer-Yeary, the Community Health Educator for Baltimore City's Cancer Program, and I am privileged to serve as your hostess again on this year. And I have a distinct honor of introducing our mayor, who is the 49th and current mayor of Baltimore City. She is the second woman to hold the position. She currently serves as the secretary of the DNC, which is the Democratic National Committee, as well as the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. She is an attorney, she is a mother, she is a wife. She was the youngest person ever elected to the Baltimore City Council. And she was also named in Vanity Fair in 2014 as one of the top 10 best dressed mayors. Most importantly, in my opinion, however, is that even in the midst of unrest, in the midst of criticism, in the midst of unfair assumptions and accusations and downright ignorance, she has kept her hand to the plow and continues to fight for Baltimore City. I introduce to you and present to most the mayor of Baltimore City, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I wish you could see my view from here. Everyone looks gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Rhonda, thank you so much for the very kind introduction and for your support. I'm honored to be here with you today for our annual breast cancer awareness program. Before I get started, I want to thank a few folks. I want to thank the University of Maryland's Marlene and Stuart Greenebaum Cancer Center. I want to thank the Living and Loving Life Breast Cancer Support Group. Every year we've been working with you to continue to make this event bigger and better, so thank you very much. I also want to highlight our breast cancer survivors and warriors, including Linda Adamson, Audrey Bennett, and Shay Sharp. Wave your hands. I want to thank a couple of our elected officials. First, our comptroller, Joan Pratt. Thank you very much for being here. And I saw City Councilman Eric Costello is here. Thank you very much. Mom, you met the health commissioner, Dr. Wen, right? I want to thank my own breast cancer survivor, Mommy, Dr. Nona. And since I already mentioned her, I want to thank our health commissioner, our dynamic health commissioner, Dr. Lena Nguyen. And I want to thank the city employees who continuously give support to this event. And I want to welcome the visitors to City Hall to discuss an issue that is very close to my heart, and that's breast cancer awareness and prevention. In the United States, 1 in 8 women will develop breast cancer at some point during their lives. And unfortunately, in Baltimore City, we have the highest mortality rate for breast cancer in Maryland. Now again, that's the highest mortality rate. That's not necessarily the highest rate of breast cancer detection. That's why we're here. We are dying at a faster rate in Baltimore City because we need more education, we need more outreach, and we need more women to take care of themselves, and that's what this is about. As the daughter of a breast cancer survivor, this is important to me personally. My mom was a true champ when she got her diagnosis, and she credits me with saving her life, as she should, because it was me being a hypochondriac. Y'all who've been here before know the story. I was a hypochondriac growing up, and I had convinced myself that I had found a lump, because it was right around the time that all of those commercials came and the little things in the supermarket to do the breast cancer exam. I didn't know what I was doing, so I had convinced myself that I had a lump. This is when I was away at school. So Mommy came up for a parents' weekend, the first time any of my parents came for parents' weekend, I'm just saying, and they... All right, 2 parents. So I said, we were going to bed, and I said, Mommy, I have something to tell you. I think I have a lump. And she looked at me like I was crazy, because I was maybe 20 at the time, and she did an exam. She said, no, this is how you do an exam, and she showed me on herself, and I could see it in her face that she felt something. And she went home, and boom, within 2 weeks, the whole family was, forever changed. And anybody who's gotten that diagnosis knows that you have a life before and a life after. And I will say that because of the way my mother dealt with her diagnosis, life on the other side has been significantly better for me, because she was a true champion. She attacked it aggressively, and I think has given many people, many women, the encouragement to do the same. So I want to thank you very much. I also want to acknowledge my Chief of Staff, Calliope Parthimos, who is in pink for the first time this year. Thank you very much. Both my Chief of Staff, Calliope Parthimos, and my assistant, her mother, Angelica Parthimos, are both breast cancer survivors and are both doing great. So I want to clap for that. The good news that we have to share is breast cancer is often beatable. The best protection against the looming specter of breast cancer is early detection. That's why throughout the month of October, National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, people across the nation unite in a sea of pink to create awareness about breast cancer. I encourage our women to take the time this month and every month to examine yourself. As a working mother and wife with a very demanding job, I understand how difficult it can be to take time out of your life for your health. But I will tell you, like I tell my friends, don't make me get involved. Because if I talk to a friend that hasn't had a mammogram and they're in the age range, because most of my friends are in my same age range and we need to get the mammograms, I'll get ignorant. I will. Because I'd rather your feelings be hurt than, the alternative. I said, you can be mad at me all you want. I'm giving you years to be mad at me. So I charge each woman assembled here today to do what I know that you're already doing. Conduct a self-breast exam every month. All women 40 and over, and now they're saying 45, and who knows. Make sure, 40, 45, get your mammogram every year. I get it religiously. I'm mad about it every year. I know for a fact a man created that daggone machine. I know it. If a man had to get a mammogram, it would be a pillow soft touch. You know it. You wouldn't even be able to know it was being done if they had to get it done. You know that's the truth. But a little bit of pain, and you're good for the year. That's all we have to do. And I'll tell my friends, if you need me to go with you, I will go. But not doing it is not an option. So, while breast cancer is an epidemic among women, we know that men can also succumb to this deadly disease. And for men, early detection is even more vital. Too many men ignore the symptoms and they are diagnosed at later stages, and you know what that means. Treatment has to be more rigorous and potentially not as successful. So, October is designated as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. All of these organizations are working with us to educate individuals about breast cancer throughout the year, and I encourage you to use their resources. It pains me when I hear about someone who's suffering from breast cancer that needs help with whether it's cleaning their house or food or transportation. And all of you know that there are different service providers that are waiting to offer these services, but too many people don't know about the resources. So that's why I'm glad I'm here with some activists who are taking charge of their health and spreading the word. If you know of a survivor or someone with a recent diagnosis, pull them close. They need support as they're fighting against the disease. I know together we can and will fight back against breast cancer. Again, I want to thank you for joining me today, for recognizing a condition that impacts the lives of so many families, including mine. So I have a little, here it is, I have a little surprise. Today is also a little bittersweet and extra special for someone who has been instrumental in making this event happen, and that is our very own Marva Williams, who every year organizes this special event. Where did she go? There's Marva. And this year, as many of you know, Marva has been very brave in sharing her own journey. Marva found out that she had breast cancer, and I want to take time to thank you for sharing your story. I want to thank you for your strength and for your courage and for your positive attitude. I've never seen somebody more positive, because we know that when one finds out that they have breast cancer, it's like being punched in the gut, and your strength and your resilience was infectious. Nobody had a chance to get worried about you because you were so strong and you were such a fighter. So I want to thank you for that. All right, so I'm not going to read it because we're both about to start being up here crying. So I just want to thank you so much and recognize your courageous fight. We almost made it through. We'll take a picture. We're going to come around. We'll get a picture before I leave. After we pull our faces together. And before we get started with the panel, I want to ask our representative from the Living and Loving Life, who's going to accept the citation on behalf of Living and Loving Life? Come on, somebody. Somebody jump up. Come on. I have a certificate of recognition. Come on around here. Presented to the Living and Loving Life Breast Cancer Support Circle in recognition of your continued support.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all very, very much, and I think I am turning it back over to Ms. Rhonda. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mayor Rawlings-Blake, for your inspiring words of encouragement and challenge as well. We have with us on this afternoon Dr. Lena Wang, who is our health commissioner appointed in January 2015 by our mayor. She is a frequent keynote speaker at medical conferences. She's the author of the book, When Doctors Don't Listen, How to Avoid Misdiagnoses and Unnecessary Tests. And I could go on and on about her. She's a different kind of smart. I had the honor of reading her bio on this morning, and it is quite impressive. But more than that, the work that she's even done, again, in the city, after the unrest, after the riots, still fighting to get Baltimore to where it needs to be. I want to introduce to you the Health Commissioner of Baltimore City, Dr. Lena Wang.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Wow, you guys are great. Good afternoon, everyone. So much energy in the room, and I'll tell you that it's hard to follow Madam Mayor and the inspiration that she has given. I want to ask everyone in this room, how many of you have been affected by breast cancer in some way? Whether it's in ourselves, whether it's in our families, anybody with a friend, every single hand is raised. And I was thinking, as I was preparing to speak, and I knew I was coming to speak after the mayor, and after such an inspiring leader as Rhonda as well, what I should talk about. And whether you want to hear about facts or medicine, but actually, I know we're here today to share stories. And I want to share with you my story. When I was a second-year medical student, my mother called me. And I was living at the time far away from home. She was thousands of miles away. And she called me to tell me that something was wrong. She couldn't tell me exactly what it was. You know, my mother was, at the time, she was in her early 40s. She was a school teacher in some areas in Los Angeles, in Compton, in Los Angeles. And she taught the second grade, and she was someone who, we were immigrants. She worked hard all her life. She was the caregiver to not only me and my sister, but also she took care of my father, who was ill. She took care of her parents, of my father's parents, and she took care of everyone. She never told me ever that something was wrong. So for her to tell me that she was worried, she was short of breath, she had a cough that wouldn't go away, I knew that something had to be really wrong. But my mother went to her doctor, and her doctor didn't know what to say. I mean, her doctor said, you know, you're healthy, you're a woman in your 40s, you've never been sick before, this is a virus. He told her that for 2 visits. On her 3rd visit, he did some testing. We don't know exactly what test, but maybe some blood tests looking for anemia, maybe a chest x-ray, and told her that everything is normal, and that she was probably depressed. Prescribed for her Prozac, an antidepressant. This went on, and she was feeling really bad, and she went to another doctor thinking that she wanted a second opinion. But that doctor saw the first doctor's note about how she was depressed and said, actually, I think you are anxious. Take some Valium. This went on for about a year until she was finally diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. Cancer that by then had spread to her lungs and her bones and her brain. And so I tell you this story today because obviously it's one that's so personal to me. This drives why I do what I do. In medicine, in public health. I also want to share with all of you because we're here today to share our stories. Stories of survival, stories of friendship, of support with each other. And also stories of what it is that we have learned over time, what is important. And you heard Madam Mayor talk about the importance of screening, the importance of prevention. I want to give you a couple more ideas. Not only I absolutely know your body, and that's something that I wish I recognized with my mother too, that she knows her body the best. And it's a lesson I know in medicine that you listen to your patient because they're going to know their own body the best. Also, when you go to your doctor, ask for a diagnosis. Because just if you're told everything is fine, that's not enough. Or if you're told everything is normal, but if you're feeling something abnormal, if your body is not feeling right, ask about what's going on. Also, when you're going to see your doctor, even if it's for a mammogram or for a routine visit, bring someone with you. Bring a friend, bring a family member, because that person can help to speak up, can help to advocate for you. And very importantly, always speak up when you know that something is wrong. You know, I watched my mother, I helped my mother for 8 years while she fought her cancer. And I think like all of you, she would be so proud to see me standing here among the sea of pink, to see so many survivors, so many advocates tell your story, because she fought so hard too. And unfortunately, she passed away several years ago. But I think about her all the time, and I think about what if we had spoken up for her care? And it's a lesson that I learned the hard way, but I'm so glad and so inspired and so honored to stand with all of you today as we talk about the importance of sharing our story, about the importance of living and loving and sharing and supporting each other, And I want to thank all of you for the amazing work you do every single day to support each other, to support all of us, and to uplift our city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Wynn. What an inspiring story. I am going to quickly call up to the mic my boss of 13 years now, Rhonda Silva, who is the Administrative Director of the Baltimore City Cancer Program. And I'm sure she'll tell you exactly what we do. And so I'm not going to steal her thunder, but give my boss of 13 years. It's good to have a job for 13 years. Amen?
Good afternoon. I'd like to thank the mayor, the controller, and all of the staff who've come out today to support the Baltimore City Cancer Program at University of Maryland. I have been a part of University of Maryland's this entire program for 14 years. I've known Rhonda for 13. I came in 2001. The program started in August, and I came in December. And so I have lived and I've walked the journey. We have screened over 33,000 screens since 2001. And we also have been grant funded through the cigarette restitution and also through now the COVID. And so I just want to give out a shout out to those two organizations who have allowed our program to continue. And what I'd like to say today is that we're a strong group of women. We have a very strong staff, and I'd like for my staff to raise their hand, please, or stand up, because all of these ladies have gone out into the communities of Baltimore City and beyond to spread the educational awareness about breast cancer. Now, my program, we go after uninsured. We started off going after uninsured women and men. Let's don't leave out the men. For these last 14 years, we found 120 breast cancers, and we have a 93% survival rate. And that's because we're in the communities. We're deep in the communities, telling everyone about the importance. And now about 7 years ago, I want to say about 7, our breast cancer support group that started our Living and Loving, which is now our support circle. Could I have my ladies stand, please? Now these are my survivors. These are the survivors and the faces of University of Maryland. These are the ladies, I thank you. These are our ladies who we don't let go. Even though they've gone on with insurance, they're still a part of our family. We still get together once a month, and we still do a lot of fun stuff with our ladies. Because why? We believe in them. We know that their story is true and alive. And we know that story helps others who are in so much need of support. And just like the mayor said, and just like the commissioner said, when you find out you have breast cancer, you're in a whole new different ballgame. But when you have sisters holding you up, saying to you, you gotta go on, because we're here. And we will support you along the journey. And so again, I want to say again to all of us, breast cancer, early detection saves lives. No one has to die from this disease. And if you know your family history, if you don't, you ask. You find out about your family history. Know your body. Touch your body, touch your breast. Look at yourself each and every month, because we want you here. We want you here to live a long, fruitful life. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. And before we move to the portion of the program that's probably going to have you up on your feet and moving, we just want to acknowledge the medical director, who is Rhonda's boss of the Baltimore City Cancer Program, Dr. Shauna Ntiri. She's our medical director as well as a family practitioner.
Thank you, guys. It is an absolute honor to be here with you. As Rhonda said, I'm not going to delay. I want us to move to the heart of the program as we are moving on. Just want to leave you with 3 words from everything that you've heard today. Number 1, it is so important that you're informed, that you have facts, that you understand what breast cancer is, what you can do to advocate on behalf of yourself in order to protect yourself from breast cancer. And if you feel like, hey, I know I'm a cheerleader for myself, then to empower a woman that's in your life, to inform a woman that's in your life so that she can move forward. And the third word that I want you to take away is to be encouraged. We're here in a room full of survivors. Before, when people heard the word breast cancer, they thought, oh my gosh, this is the end, but that is no longer the case. So the three words: to be informed, number one, to be encouraged, and to be empowered. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Interior. Now, I was at an event on last week that we sponsored at Mondawmin Mall. And we do this event every year, but it's the second year that I've noticed, you know, they play music, they do a little line dancing. There were some people dancing that stirred up something in me. My parents love to dance. They still do, even being over 70 years old. I'm a dancer. I'm in health education, but I went to school for the arts. I actually have an undergraduate degree in dance, so when I see good dancing, it just makes me smile. And I saw this couple at Mondawmin. I mean, they were getting it in. I mean, they were really, really dancing. So I asked, would you all be willing to come encourage our breast cancer survivors down at City Hall? And they said, we absolutely will. So on this afternoon, we have with us Dancing with Soul with Leslie Mowry and Louis Smith. You all bear with me because I'm a DJ for this too. As long as I come with the sound guy.
This is dedicated to my girls. At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. That I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong. And I grew strong. And I learned how to get along. And so you gotta come downstairs. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. Should've changed that stupid lock. Should've made you leave your key. If I had known for just 1 second, you'd be back to bother me. Come on now, go. Walk out the door. Just turn around now. 'Cause you know
lovely Mallory and Mr. Lewis Neal. They do offer hand dancing classes. If you're interested, Dancing with Soul, and the cards will be over on our table. Bear with us just for a few moments as we set up the chairs for our panelists on this afternoon. They will be brief, don't worry. We're not going to take your entire lunch break, but they will be inspiring. We have with us on this afternoon Mrs. Audrey Bennett. Come on up and take a seat, please. They are breast cancer survivors. Give them a hand. We have Mrs. Judy Devanzo. Come on up, Judy. Woo-hoo! And we have one of our young breast cancer warrior survivors, Miss Shay Sharp. Come on up, Shay. And even as they're getting the mics up and set, we know that you see a variety here, and they will share their stories. But sometimes we do need to question ages for mammograms, because there are, in fact, young breast cancer survivors who have been diagnosed under the age that they typically recommend that you have your first screening mammogram. So we don't want you to wait until you're 40 if there's a problem or if something is awry. Let's give our strong, courageous breast cancer survivors who will speak to us on this afternoon a hand. You know, it's not easy to speak in front of folks. We start from, I guess, my right, you guys left. We'll start with Mrs. Audrey Bennett.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am very pleased to share my story with you because there's a couple of unique things about it. I was 64 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. My mother has 4 daughters, and I am the third one to be diagnosed with breast cancer. But my mother has never had a problem. None of my mother's sisters or my grandmother. So we tend to think we must be the chosen generation to start it for the family. When my diagnosis happened, unfortunately, I act like so many people. I decided to ignore it because I couldn't have cancer. I had done everything. I used my birthday as my anniversary to get my mammogram. And I have had a mammogram every year since I was 40. And I could not understand why this year they were telling me I had breast cancer. So I walked away and ignored it. The cancer center called me and when are you coming in so we can start planning your treatment? I said, well, I feel like you're harassing me. She said, we are. This is nothing that you wait on. You need to get started immediately. So I cried, and I didn't tell my friends right away because I was embarrassed. But then I had to realize it wasn't my fault I had breast cancer. So I started sharing, and nothing, absolutely nothing is better than a support group. I have friends who have been with me through everything. And I'm a caregiver. My mother was living with me, and my mother is 95. My husband's mother, I was assisting with her, who had been diagnosed with leukemia. So I had a lot going on, and it just seemed as if my stuff was minor. But I am so grateful that I did finally receive treatment, and I pray every day, thanking God for my family and for my friends. And my husband, because when I had to have my surgery, it was a major choice for me to not have reconstructive surgery. So I said to him, you need to look at me and see where I am and let me know if you're okay. He said, Audrey, I need you alive, and we will do whatever we need to do to keep you alive. That's my story.
Hello? That's going to be scary now. Okay. My name's Judy Devanzo. and I am going through breast cancer for my second time. I'm stage 4, and so I'm, I guess, a fighter right now. I was first diagnosed when I was 32, had recently been married a year later or so, in 2000, had a baby. Year after that, I was cleaning up from the beach, had no idea of cancer. Cancer wasn't even on my radar at that time. I was 32. You know, my grandmother would walk around saying, "Oh, you know, she has cancer." You know, back in the day when you didn't really say the word. And my daughter had just turned 1, and was cleaning up and found something weird, and decided I would get it checked out. And they did kind of the same. They said, "Oh, it's nothing. You were nursing. It probably has to do with that, and your hormones are all crazy, and you're under 40, so nothing to worry about. Just we'll come back and see us in a couple months." Okay, whatever. Came back, same thing. They said, "Does it hurt? Does it bother you? Is in the right breast?" "No, everything's fine." And I then had started reading about breast cancer a little bit, and that if it runs in your family, then you get a mammogram. Well, so I lied and said, "Oh, yeah, it runs in my family." I grew up with my father, didn't grow up with my mom or knowing my mom's family, so I really had no way of knowing if it ran on her side or not. Turns out, later I found out that it actually did run, same as you, Audrey, where mother had it, her mother had it, nobody else had it. No sisters, no cousins, nieces, children, nothing. And that's what she left for me. So thanks, Mom. But went through the stage 2. I chose to get a new set because I had a little girl. I was in a different place, and did a year of chemo, chose not to do radiation. I was here at Mercy. My husband and I are not from this area, so we made some phone calls to see where we would deal with this. And got finished, and that was it. And I had my baby girl, I still had my husband. Life goes on, right? It's a blip. And then now I am I'm 48, soon to be 49. And in 2012, I had just come back from a ski trip with some friends, and was supposed to be getting a new set. So excited. And for any of you that have gone through this process. So Dr. Chang had finally said, it's time. Nothing was going to take this appointment away from me. So I go to get pre-op work done, and they tell me there's something wrong with my red blood cell count. Again, I'm not even thinking cancer. I was never one of those people that checked all the time, and when the doctor said I was done, I was done. I said, no, you're wrong. That is somebody else's blood. That is not mine. And my last name's Davanzo, so the chances of it being someone else's was pretty slim. But they ran it again and came back with the same thing. Had to go get scans and all that, and found out that I actually had breast cancer return, and it came to my liver. Now, during the time that I was supposedly cancer-free, I lucked out. I got pregnant again, which they did not expect, and had a baby boy. I kind of left it in the powers that be to say, if I'm supposed to have another one, I'll have one. I did, one of each. Life was great. He is now 9. So he was about 6, and my daughter was about 12 when I was re-diagnosed. And the hardest part with this is, I guess really is kind of what they've all alluded to today, is that you need to know your body. You need to know what is right treatment for you. Because what's good for me and what works in my brain honestly does not work in anybody else's. My family has made it very clear. And so I was given originally 6 to 8 months because it was in the liver and it had taken over a lot of my liver. That I 6 to 8 months if I did nothing. If I did treatment, then I would have about 18 to 24 months. So I am at 3.5 years right now. I've outlived. Thank you. I have outlived my diagnosis, which was is very exciting. I have not done any treatments for a year because the treatments would literally just knock me on my butt. And I had 2 kids, and I didn't want to waste whatever time I had left, either going through trials and being sick and being what I call a lab rat. And I didn't want to be sleeping. That's not what the memories I wanted for them. And so when it got to be too much, I said, that's it, I'm done. However, long I'm supposed to be here, I'll be here. And I love being around people. I love to talk and meet people and learn about their lives, and that is really what gets me going. And so what really bothered me was the way my husband was treated the first time around. And he was treated great, mind you, okay? But he was the caregiver. And we, as cancer fighters, we get the red carpet, don't you think? You tell someone that you have cancer or you're going through cancer or you're a survivor, and people really stop and bow down, and you get excused from so many things because of that diagnosis. Meanwhile, my husband was the one doing all the work. Nobody ever slapped him on the back and said, hey, great job. The first time around, we just had a baby. I mean, he came from 4 boys. So there was no female influence whatsoever. So he's changing my drains, dealing with my hormones going crazy, and then a little 1-year-old who, knows 10 words maybe, and has to figure all that out. Then we get hit again, and now it's harder, actually. Now they talk too much, my children, and they want to do too much. So as maybe y'all feel this way as well, but it gets hard to ask for help all the time. And for men, I think it gets really hard for them to ask their buddies or ask someone to help. So I started an organization, a nonprofit called Caring On, and we, for advanced cancer patients, we help the caregiver, and we work with the patient or close friends or relative or co-workers to nominate the caregiver and give them some hours off. We'll provide staffing even for peace of mind, if you need a nurse at home. And then if, I don't know, if they want to go to a football game, let's say it's for the guys, we will get the tickets, we will provide food for them. And for the cancer patients who do the recommending, they're so excited to see their caregiver do something that is all about them. And if it's for, let's just say, if it's a female caregiver, a lot of people want to do a spa day. So we're kind of like a Make-A-Wish, but it's an adult taking care of an adult. We don't care what your economic situation is. We don't care what your kind of cancer you have. We just want to give that caregiver a break and give them some time to really relax, renew, and refresh. And that really, I think, is what kept me here a little longer. So thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Shay Sharp. I'm president of Shea Sharp's Pink Wishes, and I am a 2-time breast cancer survivor. I was initially diagnosed with breast cancer in 2004 at age 26. I had no family history, just about 80% of people don't have a family history who have breast cancer. I didn't know anyone with breast cancer. I wasn't thinking about breast cancer. I couldn't possibly have breast cancer because the commercials I see, there are no young women, there are no young people in none of the ads, or I had to be 40 to get a mammogram, so there's no way in the world I could have breast cancer at 26, and I did. I had every possible side effect. We did 3 months of chemotherapy, and I spent most of that time in a hospital because the medicines I was given aren't tested on women my age, so my body reacted differently than my older counterparts. After 3 months of chemotherapy, we removed both breasts, even before my 27th birthday. Now here it is, I went to school pre-med at 17, and at 26, your doctor's telling you you may never work again. I still to this day don't have any feeling in my fingers and my feet from the neuropathy. I'm still falling over everything. They say that's probably because I can't feel my feet. I'm on 26 pills a day. And that's just my daily upkeep. That's no cancer medicines. So if I'm sick or a fever or need other medicines, we add to that 26 every day. But while going through my treatment, I definitely saw the void in services for young women, and I knew that I wanted to do something about it. I didn't know what. I just knew that I didn't want anybody else to be alone like I was. I wasn't on social media, so I really kind of was going through this alone, and I needed age-appropriate support, and I didn't find any at the time. So I said, when I finish going through this, I'm going to do something. Well, in 2011, I started Shea Sharp's Pink Wishes. What I do is I grant wishes to young women who've been diagnosed with terminal breast cancer. They're all under age 40, and they have 1 year less to live. They write to me and tell me the wish, and I make the wish happen. So from 2011 to last year, I'm going about life making everybody else's life wonderful and granting Christmas wishes and feeding the homeless and doing any and everything in the community. And I'm across the U.S. I'm at conferences, I'm in ad-school meetings, I'm everywhere, and young survivor conferences, and going out to meet our wish recipients. I'm on the phone all day, all night, my West Coast girls, my UK girls, my Australia girls. And then all of a sudden, in 1 week, I had 3 girls with a recurrence. So I was asking, all of these girls were diagnosed in their 20s. People always made it seem like it was so rare that I was diagnosed so young, but right after I was diagnosed and doing some research, I found out that at the time that breast cancer was the #1 killing cancer of women 15 to 55. So I said, if that's the case, why do I need to be 40? And why do you keep making me think I'm alone? And once I finally got on social media, I met thousands of other young survivors. Thousands. I mean, this was something that's never talked about. This is something I never hear about. And that even this week with the recommendation of going to 45 created such an outrage. On Instagram, we have about 48,000 followers. And I say I have messages everywhere. My inbox, every inbox, my text, voice messages. People are just so upset, like, Shay, none of us would have lived to 40. We definitely wouldn't have lived to 45. How can this be possible? Who do we need to talk to? When can we go? We need to go to Federal Hill. We need to go somewhere. We need to talk to somebody. And where we exist, we young women can get breast cancer. And then last year, I found out that some of us get it twice. My cancer returned, even though I've had both breasts removed. I had my left breast removed twice prior to then, and the cancer still came back. And then almost exact location in a different location. The first time I was stage 3, and this time they didn't stage me at all. I don't know why, but we do know it wasn't stage 4. But we started treatment almost immediately. The doctors couldn't believe it. Nobody was expecting it to come back. I'm seen by the doctors all the time. I mean, I know every 16 weeks or so, my blood work is done. I'm seeing at least one of my specialists, and even with all that, the cancer still returns. I'm a big advocate of knowing your body. I found my own lump on both occasions, even with all these doctor's appointments. And you have to know your body. You have to be your own advocate. If you feel something, say something. Don't let it go on. Even if you just got to get a baseline, just so they every year can say, okay, well, it was like this last year, or it's the same, or some things have changed. And as if it wasn't enough, going through what I was going through and still having all of these treatments, and even this year having to get my ovaries removed. My cancer lived off of estrogen, so taking the ovaries out was hoping that, the estrogen, if there's any cancer left, won't have anything to feed off of. But also, while I was finishing radiation this year, I found out that my now 20-year-old daughter has a lump in her breast. So we got some test results back last night, even after all of the, we in the news, and they are requesting for her to return. There is something on the mammogram and ultrasound, and we'll need to be biopsy now. So at 20, I think that's the last thing she should have to be worried about. In fact, she was turned 21 on Tuesday. That's the last thing she should have to be worried about, but it exists. So just don't think it's an older woman's disease, because that's what I thought. I couldn't get it. I did get it. Got it twice, and even now, not even dealing with all of the young ladies I work with, but now possibly dealing with my daughter's fight as well. So if you take nothing else from this, just know your body. If you got to get a buddy, remind her to do her mammograms, or self-checks. Just do it. I don't know. I never thought that I would be here saying that I had to deal with it again. But that's one of the downside, well, that's any age, well, being diagnosed so young is the length of time we have to look forward to it possibly coming back. So every rash, every fever, every doctor's appointment, every test, every scan is always that possibility that is there again. And I guess I will have that fear or uncomfortable feeling for the rest of my life. And it feels good, though, to be in this room full of so many other survivors. I bless you, I love you, I support you, and I thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please don't apologize. Sometimes there are no words, but thank you. Our stories, our hard stories change lives. Our easy stories change lives. Your stories are changing our lives, even as your lives are being changed, and we thank you for that. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for your resilience. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for your tears. Thank you for all of you. Thank you. They tell me that it's questions and answers. I don't even know what questions need to be asked, but I'm going to follow the program as the mistress of ceremonies and see if there are any questions that you may have for our panelists on this afternoon.
Now somebody has a question.
I think from what y'all heard from what we're saying, you might not have a question, but I think what we all want to really impress upon is to find something that means something to you. And hopefully it's a positive light as we were given, or it's a positive thing, or it's starting an organization or taking care of others, or I don't know, walking dogs every day. Whatever it is that we unfortunately all have received this, but they always say, you hear people say that having cancer is a gift, and I think, you know, maybe we all in this room are a little hard-headed, and we need to be knocked around a little bit to realize that we received this unfortunate situation because we have so much to give, and maybe we weren't giving it enough at certain times, or maybe, who knows what your reason is for all of it, but to find that positive focus to support our sisters in how we decide to deal, the treatments that we decide to do or not do. So not only knowing your body, but knowing what you believe in your heart is gonna make you get over that hump to get to the next day. I think that is something we really all are trying to express.
Yes. Yeah, we exist, and actually there's a pretty big group of us actually. But we were always told that if you had a close relative, that person, you would start getting tested 10 years prior to that person being diagnosed. So me being diagnosed at 26, we started scanning my daughter at 16. So every year since then, she's had an ultrasound. And then last year, having her first mammogram. And she's actually been trying to get her breast removed since she was 16. Since she was underage, it was still my decision. I could still say no, she couldn't, but now it's her decision, and she's actively trying to get it done. She's actually already been to 2 doctors who wouldn't do it, but now that she has this lump, they may go ahead and let her, remove her breast. But nobody thinks that they can get it, because like I said, all we hear is, these older ages, so nobody's worried about it until you have it. So really all you can do right now is trying to tell your daughter to check herself, feel her breast, and maybe even show her or give her a card on how to do a self-breast exam. And, if she feels something, definitely, talk to her doctor, and definitely be sure to tell her doctor that she has a family history of breast cancer. She can say, grandmother had it or whoever, but she definitely needs to, inform the doctor of that. And, Yeah, definitely. And last year we buried 2 young women in their 20s. One young lady, she was 22, and that was actually her second time with breast cancer. You're welcome.
You said you were trying to do something about it to get known that they would know of a young age. So are you trying to write a bill or forward with that with the young people? Because I think that is very, very, very important, because they're changing it to 45 now.
Yes.
If it's in your family, because I know it's very, very, very complicated. I have sisters, nieces, cousins, first cousin, second cousin, and aunts that have had breast cancer. So I think, and they were diagnosed at a young age. Most of them were diagnosed way younger than me. I think I was 55. Yeah, but they were way younger than me.
Yeah, there's definitely, it's so many groups of young women who are just trying to make a change. And right now, since we're all kind of in this DMV area, we're kind of closer to the White House, and people know people that know people, and they've been able to, talk. And we have, I think Congressman Debbie Swatch, people have been receiving letters and receiving all of the, the complaints. But I just don't think, I guess they don't feel like it's enough of us, to make that decision. They keep saying, well, we will do it on an as need basis, or if the person has an issue, to take it up with their doctor. But I don't think they feel as though it's enough of us to change the numbers.
Thank you so much. We'll take one more question if there is one more. All right, so as we close, we're going to ask our survivors who hopefully have their candles in their hands to light their candles, and I'm going to invite our co-worker and breast cancer survivor, Bethany Schaefer, forward to share something with you all as we leave. I'll have a few more instructions when she's done, but then we'll be over. Again, thank you to our panelists. Thank you, and thank you.
It's such an honor to be here today to try to bring more awareness to breast cancer. I was the one who never got sick. Like all my sisters, I took care of everybody else, and I put my needs on the back burner. I was past due for my mammogram. I had a lot going on, and I just kind of didn't want to bother with that at the time. And then the American Cancer Society put out their announcement that you could go for 3 years between your mammograms, and I thought, well, okay, I'm just going to, that was my excuse to just put it further back. So my husband actually felt something in my breast, and I decided, well, let me go. It's about time I go. But I didn't think there was anything there, because there's all kinds of stuff in there. And I never thought anything like that would happen to me, because nobody in my family ever had cancer. So when I walked into the dark room and saw my images on that MRI, I didn't want to consider that they were mine, because the whole left side was completely lit up. And I waited 3 years between mammograms. Many women and their families suffer the consequences of this disease, and my hope is that we find a more comprehensive test than the one we have, because it's very hard for them to spot anything in there. And I hope that they begin to test women a lot earlier, because as you can see today, this happens to women of any age. It's been a very emotional journey for me, and I'd like to share with you some of the things that kept me strong. I never wore a prosthesis. I did that from my sisters with love and understanding. My breasts don't define who I am. I'm not my cancer is not me. When I felt insecure about my missing breast as I walked around my office, and out into the lobby where other people were, I thought of my sisters, and I held my chin up, smiled, and forgot about it. And didn't think about not having that breast there. I'm in the club that nobody wants to join. My body's disfigured, but my soul is not. My sisters nourish my soul. My husband loved me more. My family loved and supported me. My friends gave me their energy and supported me. My Baltimore City Cancer Program family embraced me. And by the way, I never let Rhonda Silver know that I didn't have my mammogram for 3 years. Because I wouldn't have gone 3 years, because she would have pushed me every day. I didn't do this alone. I needed and appreciated each person and gesture. And it was the love, the hugs, the well wishes, and the prayers that were my buoy. I only know 1/4 of what some of my sisters have endured, and that was pretty brutal. My spirit reaches out with love to my sisters who have endured it all. Even those who have been forced to release their souls are survivors. And I'd like to thank the doctors who were very gentle and compassionate with me and helped to put me back together again. So I encourage everybody to
take care of yourself. You know, do that breast exam and don't leave yourself last on the list. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Beth, and to everyone again, just thank you for coming out this afternoon and making the Mayors in the Pink Living and Loving Life celebration a success, another success because of the numbers of people that were here, though they were great, but because again, coming together and hearing stories will change lives. I don't think any of us will leave this place the same, and I'm hoping that when we go from this place, we will leave with a passion and a fire in us to encourage women to take care of themselves and do what needs to be done so that they can live life to the fullest. There is lunch. Yes, we certainly can. Will our survivors please stand? And no revivals, no revivals.